On today's episode, Ken talks to entrepreneur Micheal Sessions on the KLear Channel, where Micheal explains how shifting perspective changes everything and dives into the law of the universe. This conversation is about discovering how our mindset can move us from negativity to possibility, and how applying them can transform both business and life. Stay tuned.
All right, happy Tuesday. Good to see all you guys joining the Tuesday Raise Your Game leader calls. Appreciate you taking the time. Some of you guys aren't working today. Some of you guys are taking time out of the field to join the call. We have a very special guest on this week that I'm incredibly biased about. But, I'll tell you, I want to introduce my promoting manager, the guy who did my initial interview, man, Sessions, 23 years ago? I think you're on mute, but I think it was 23,
Oh, it's
20,
2025,
20, I don't even,
2002.
oh my gosh. I
No,
don't,
23,
you can't,
23.
you
Yeah.
can't do math and I can't, I don't age and neither do you. So either way, Micheal is my promoting owner. He did my initial interview. He introduced me to this industry when I was right out of college. And man, I've seen him grow, not just as a business person, but a dad, a mentor. I know there's a lot of people in our industry that have a lot of gratitude around the impact that you've made on people's lives. You can throw yourselves on mute. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. But Micheal, I'd asked if you could join us today. I know you've done a lot of personal development around, helping yourself get to a different level in your mind and also in your mentorship. Do you mind sharing a minute or two of your background so people have some context on where you're coming from, and then jump into the topic? And thanks for spending time with the guys today, Sesh.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks, Ken. Yeah, I started the business 26 years ago. I was 25 years old. I was working, just finished college, and I took a job with Merrill Lynch, trying to be a stockbroker, and did try to do some banking jobs. I'd worked for 10 years from 15 years old, doing odd jobs, cutting grass, grounds crew work, all the way to white collar jobs. And one thing I noticed about every job is there was like seniority. It was like you had to wait your turn. And I played sports. I was pretty competitive, and I just kind of got tired of waiting around. Like I wanted to find a career where I could really really grow based on my work ethic, because I was willing to work hard. I was gonna work. But sometimes working hard, when you had to be there for 2 years, you kind of had to balance how hard you worked, because you didn't want everybody to get mad at you. Like, why are you trying to work so hard? You have to be here for 2 years. Like, cut it out. So I came in, answered an ad in the newspaper in 1999. The internet was not quite up and running like it is now, and went in and met with Brandy. I couldn't figure out how Brandy was 23 and she was running the company. I was like, I'm 25. I've never had a boss that's 2 years younger than me. All of my bosses or managers were like, they look like my parents. They didn't look like Brandy. So I was like, how did you get in charge? She's like, well, I went in the field. The client earned their trust by going in the field, representing their brand, signing up customers. And then they gave me a chance to have a contract with them so that I could run an office and recruit people and grow. And that's where you came from. And I'm like, oh, I was like, well, that's pretty awesome. And so I started February 12th, 1999. I got promoted to leadership in a couple weeks. I simply just did what my leader did. He was a great guy, Sean Clark. He made money every day. He said the same thing every business. He worked hard. So I just did what he did. And then, once again, when I started the business, I was kind of committed, because this isn't what I thought I would be doing, but I knew that there was no seniority. And if I could just work hard and listen to Brandy and Sean, I was going to probably grow pretty quickly. So after I got promoted to leadership, I was like, what's next? They're like, well, you have to be able to transfer what you know to other people so that you can do assistant manager work. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, how many people is that? Like 20, 30? They're like, no, you have to teach 4 people. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I have to teach 4 people how to do something I just learned in 2 weeks? They're like, yeah, you got to replace yourself. And I'm like, okay, 4 people? And Brandy's like, well, they can't quit. Like they have to all be here at the same time. You can't train one and then 3 months later train one, and like you have to put together a group of individuals. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I just figured if I trained one good leader a month, 4 months later, I probably was pretty close to assistant manager. And so I got promoted assistant manager in 6 months. I did move with Brandy back to Atlanta from Charlotte, that's where I started. And then I opened my first office October, Halloween weekend. It's coming up pretty soon in Philadelphia. I ran my office there for 2.5 years. Now, when I started, we had one division and we had one client. It was B2B and it was AT&T. So we would go into different businesses and talk to business owners about long distance. So if I could give you any advice that the field's kind of anecdotal, which means it really doesn't matter. It does matter for integrity. It does matter because we're building relationships with customers, but I was selling something that doesn't even exist anymore. Long distance. They don't even have that anymore. But it was a means and a transportation for me to get to my goals. So um, I opened up in Philadelphia / New Jersey. They were really close there by the Delaware River there. And then in 2001, we signed on with a client called Quill. And then that's when I met Senior Lear here in early or late 2001. He recruited on his crew a guy named Andy Bruinger, who's a senior national consultant. And then we got really good at Quill. Ken was one of the top reps in the country. And we had one of the top offices, and Andy was really good too. So we got a chance to go to Chicago. So I moved there in 2002, and I was there for 10 years and promoted offices, kept growing. And then I got promoted to organizational consultant in 2004, senior national in 2007, and then senior executive in 2012. Moved to Scottsdale for 8 years because I wanted, have a little bit more warmer weather. And then I moved back to Charlotte in 2020. I stopped running an office a couple years ago. I kind of miss it, so I might start running one again. I don't know. I miss being in the office every day with the leaders and stuff. But yeah, currently we have 70 offices in our organization. We've been doing over 1 million in sales production the last 3 months every week. And the opportunity is, it seems like it gets better and better. So that's a little snapshot about me and my time in the business. So
Love it. And Sessions, I know when you're in Scottsdale, you got a chance to work with Bob Proctor a little bit and learned a little
yeah.
bit about the laws of the universe and his teachings. Do you mind sharing that with everybody today?
Yeah, so I just finished building my our dream home in Scottsdale. We built a $2.3 million house that we later sold to the quarterback for the Panthers, Derek Anderson. He still lives there. Life was good. Kids are in private school. We're driving the coolest whips. I'm wearing $5,000 suits. My life is great. There was only one problem. I just felt like I felt stuck. I'm like, on paper, there's not many people that wouldn't want what I have. And most importantly, I was strong in my faith. I had an amazing marriage, and so that's first and foremost. But besides all those things, the material things, the fun things that I have, that was great. But I just didn't feel like good about it. I mean, I didn't feel bad. I was just like, is this the pinnacle? Is this my plateau? Is this it? And I was only in my early 40s. So like any good student, when you feel stuck, you need to just start studying. Start reading books, start, watching entrepreneurship videos on TikTok. However you learn things, just start studying. And so I went searching and I came across, Tony Robbins was good. I felt good about him, but this guy, Bob Proctor, just kind of knocked me sideways because he was really just honed in on the power of your thinking. And your thinking mind, it's the most powerful thing. One of the most powerful things in the planet is your ability to think. And human potential is infinite, and everyone has the ability to do amazing things. And so I just really resonated with him, and so I watched every one of his videos. I studied him, and I was a little obsessed, honestly. I was just kind of I would read everything that he would do and watch his videos. And then I signed up to be a consultant in his business. It's called Proctor Gallagher Institute. And it cost me $25,000, but he coached me personally for 13 months. And I became a certified consultant for Proctor Gallagher Institute. Now, people go on once they become a consultant and they run courses and they charge people. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I want to teach all of the leaders and managers in my business because that's what we do. We outthink the problems. And that every result you've ever gotten in your life is a direct reflection of how you're thinking. So you don't have to have a 5-star, degree from some big college or be an army general's son or daughter to be great in our business. You just have to have the great mindset, and we can teach you the rest. And so I was like, man, and he said like you can create tangible things from thought. I was like, wow, that's crazy. You can create physical things in your life from your thinking. And I'm like, good or bad. And I was like, that's pretty awesome. But it's so true. Think about all the goals that we've hit in our life so far. We thought about it. And then later, those goals happened in our physical life. And so I was like, wow, that was very powerful. So I love that idea. I've always been an optimistic person. I was like, I want to learn how to get this material to my team, my crew. And so I started learning all the information, and I wanted everyone to know, like, everyone has the ability to think. No one can make you think anything you don't want to think, right? So if you come to work and there's a person that's at the office that's annoying, you don't have to let them annoy you. That's giving them too much power. Why would we give them all that power? Tanya, I see Tanya on here. What's up, Tanya? I see Tanya over here, and I come to work, and she's always so happy. Why she go, da, da, da. And then, like Tanya, that Tanya. Well, Tanya doesn't know that she's making you that upset. Why are you giving all that power to Tanya? What I'm thinking that Tanya's this, so therefore my feelings I'm creating create action in my body, this instrument that we live in, and then the body is creating results. So why don't I just go, hey, you know what? Good for Tanya. She's in a great mood today. I wish I could be in a good mood like her every day. That's great. Once again, you have the power to think, negative or positive, right? And so as we start to think, it's really important that you digest every day. Like, what do I think about the most? Like, you ever thought about that? Like, what do I think about? For me, when I started in the business, this isn't what I thought I'd be doing. But once I learned about it, I was like, man, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a senior national consultant. And that's all I talked about. That's all I thought about. I thought about what it was going to be like when I got promoted. I thought about what I was going to say. Now, obviously, I had some work to do between then and there, but I just dreamed about what that would be like. And so in the field, people are like, how'd you get over the negatives? I'm like, what negatives? Like, I didn't really think there was negatives. So I'm going to give you a law that Bob taught me. It's called the law of relativity. And all these laws you can Google, you can find them. Bob didn't make them. He didn't come up with them. He just was taught them, and he passed them on to as many people as he could. But the law of relativity states that nothing is good or bad, hot or cold, until it's compared to something. So if I said, hey, is my finger big or small? You're like, well, it's small compared to the room I'm in, but it's big compared to the tip of my pen, right? It's very relative. Like, is your problem big or small? Is your thinking good or bad? Well, what are you relating it to? So that law says practice relating your situation to something that's much worse, and your situation will always look good. So I grew up with I've forgiven my mom, I honor my mom. I love my mom, but she didn't treat me very good growing up. It's a lot of hitting, a lot of yelling, a lot of manipulation, a little bit of, a lot of narcissism from her. And so when I went in the field, people are like, how do you handle negatives? I'm like, well, no one's gonna hit me or yell at me like my mom does, so it's gonna be pretty clean today. And so I just like, never was never really a negative. I also buried a friend when I was 16 years old, which kind of sucks. My friend Kevin, he died in an unfortunate car accident. Coming home from a church camp that I was supposed to actually go with him, the driver's side got hit by a logging truck. The seat behind him was empty, and the two passengers on the other side lived. And so I'm thinking, like, empty seat. I was supposed to be with him. God is good. He's got a plan, but I was really sad my friend died. But people are like, man, my day, it's bad. God, the weather. I'm like, okay, weather is relative, right? Burying a
What
dead
up?
friend or some clouds that are gray and some rain on the road. So, what are you comparing your situation to? If you practice relating it to something positive, then you will always look like your situation's great. So it's really important every day when you wake up to go over the 10 things that you're grateful for. You want to start your day with gratitude, Bob taught me. He's like, because a grateful heart can attract more things. An ungrateful heart, it's like a linebacker it just keeps things away. It's like, defensive player. It doesn't allow any greatness into your life. So you really have a lot if you look at it. Like, oh, I don't have a lot, Michael. My bank account's not that big and my car barely works. Yeah, I know, but your car is better than a bike. It's better than walking. Even though it smokes a little bit, it still goes 25. I can't walk 25 miles an hour. So you're right. I am thankful for my car. Even though it's not the Ferrari I'm going to have someday, it gets me to where I need to go. So really what we're trying to do is practice training our mind. I am grateful for my apartment. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for my career that I can go to every day and know that in 26 years, no one's ever had to lay anyone off. I know that I will have work tomorrow when I wake up. Even in a pandemic, we were considered essential business. I promoted 2 managers during COVID. We wore a mask and we went to residential settings because people needed internet. Ken and Jason and these guys figured out how to sell wireless in Target during COVID. But some people were like, they had the relativity of COVID. Like, what the heck? It's negative, it's positive, but people had different outlooks. Not these guys. They went out and figured out how to do it. And so there's another law that he also taught me that's relative to that one. It's called the law of polarity, which states that everything has an opposite: up, down, right, left, hot, cold. And so if something can be bad, it can be good, right? Even when I went to all these funerals when I was younger, somehow they managed to find the good in the person that we had just lost. And when Kevin passed away and a couple other my buddies that, recently, down the road after that, there's good in every situation if you look for it. There's good in every new guy on your crew. We got to look for it. Sometimes we just look for the things that are convenient for us and things that can help us grow our crew. But I realize there's a little bit of love and greatness in everybody. We just got to look for it, right? Because if something can be bad or seem bad, there's good there. We just got to look for it. And I don't think we're always programmed to look for the good, right? We're like, oh man, the situation, this stinks. COVID was terrible. But I've been in this business long enough, and Ken and I, we talked, and we're like, dude, there's going to be good that comes from this. We're going to bounce back. We're going to learn how to do things we've never done. The clients are going to value us more than ever. Recruiting is going to go bonkers. And if you look at the numbers we had in 2021 to now, everything lines up for exactly what we thought was going to happen. Now, it was unfortunate. COVID was negative, but it doesn't do any good. Your mindset's not going to do any good to gravitate towards a negative, because the next law that Bob taught me was the law of vibration and attraction. And he's like, I was in the movie The Secret, Michael, and people, as soon as that movie came out, everybody's writing books on the law of attraction. He's like, but they were ignorant. Ignorant didn't mean they were dumb. They just didn't know. How you're vibrating your energy determines what the law of attraction goes out and gets for you. It's like a hunting dog. So if I'm using relativity to stay positive and know that, my situation's good, and I'm finding the good in every situation, even though it doesn't seem good, my energy, my vibration is positive. So the hunting dogs can go get me more positive. They're not going to go get me more negative unless I'm going, oh, this sucks. You ever know your day starts out and you kind of trip over yourself a little bit, you spill your coffee, and then you're like, oh, it's one of those days. And then things just kind of keep spiraling. That's when you have to go, no, 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 time out. It's 7 a.m. I just spilled my coffee. I stubbed my toe getting out of bed. It stops right here. And I like to call it Satan. Satan, not today, baby. You got me a couple times here. It's early, but it's 7 a.m. From this point on, no, no thanks. I'm good.
You described my day on Friday.
I refuse to have my whole day controlled because of what I'm thinking about the first hour of my day. Does that make sense to you guys? And so because I know how I vibrate determines what the rest of my day is going to be. And I don't want to attract anything that I don't want. I don't want to attract a speeding ticket because I'm frustrated about my coffee. That's pretty powerful coffee if it can cause a speeding ticket. So I want it to focus on the good that's going to come. Right? I'll give you a real life example. How do you do when you sign up your first customer the first 30 minutes of your day? How is the rest of your day?
You kill it. You kill it.
You're like, bring it on. I'm gonna break my record today. Today's the day. Well, what if we could walk around like this all day, no matter if we have an app or not? Because law of averages is going to reward you if you stay true and honest to that work ethic and seeing as many people as you can. But I'll give you another example. Have you ever spotted a customer? Raise your hand for people on the screen. Have you ever spotted a customer from 100 yards and said, I'm signing up. Here comes my yes right here. Raise your hand if that's happening to you. Okay, I see everybody on the call, for the most part, have their hands up. Okay, well, how is that? What are you, a psychic or something? No, it's because there's energy flowing to and through every person. And you feel their energy from 100 yards. I'm in a different state than you guys. You can feel my energy. I can feel your energy. Right? And so that's how powerful this is. And that's how real it is. And Bob taught me that the world's spinning, Michael. Everything is moving. Even a dead body moves. And I was like, well, that's a little weird. He's like, well, if you dig it up 2 years later, it became a skeleton. It had to move to become a skeleton. So even the stillest thing in the world is moving because the world's spinning. And no matter what I'm doing, I'm still moving. So you're either working with this energy or you're working against it. Polarity, right? I'm either working with it or it's like trying to paddle upstream, which is really hard. And so how your energy determines what you attract, right? So that's why it's so important if you're doing an interview, you got to be focused. You can't be thinking about 100 things because how you're vibrating is going to come off to the person you're interviewing or you're training. And then that's going to be determined upon who you attract. And I always said the hardest part about training is the second interview. If I can get a really good person to start, it's not hard to train them. But how am I focused when I'm doing that interview? How am I focused when I'm doing that second interview? Am I on my game? Are my thoughts? Remember, I can spot a customer from 100 yards. How are my thoughts? Am I believing in what I'm saying? Am I proud of what I'm saying? Am I a pace setter? That's why we let pace setters do the interviews. Because they're going, dude, I make $2,000 a week. You'd be stupid if you don't work here. Okay, we can't say that on an interview. Let's not say that. But they're going, dude, I'm feeling good. Every day I go out, I make $200. I was bartending and working at a bank before this. I got to give up both those jobs. I'm feeling good. Yeah, we're hiring right now. So hopefully we'll get you a call with the manager later, and it kind of goes something like that. People are like, how'd I get this job? And that's how our energy comes across. And then we attract superstars to our team who can build a crew in, 3 months. But it all starts with what's in your heart, what am I thinking about? And so any questions on what those laws that we talked about so far?
So Sessions, I think one of the things that that you also went over was the genie and kind of how that works.
Yeah.
Mind sharing a little bit about that as well? So we got a lot of people on the call. It's hard to take questions.
Yeah. So Dr. Thurman Fleet created a stick figure for us back in the day. I put it on my book. Create a little stick figure. He's like, this is us as humans, right? Actually, can I share my screen? I can share my screen. I can show. See if I can share real quick. I got a little picture.
Yep. Give me 1 second. I got you.
Yeah, it'd just be easier to show it on the screen.
Yep. Go ahead.
So let's continue. See if I can. So I can find this thing here. I've got a bunch of stuff open. Sorry. Molly. Lots of forms. Where is pictures? All right. Can everybody see that?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. So Dr. Thurman Fleet created a stick figure because he said, we think in pictures. If I say, hey, what color is your car? Right now, everybody's at their car. And I was like, hey, is it 2-door or 4-door? And you go, oh, it's a 2-door. Okay, cool. What color's the interior? So everyone's at their car right now. If I say, what color's your kitchen? What color's your refrigerator? Does your refrigerator open left to right or right to left? Right now, everyone's in their kitchen. But if we said, hey, what's your mind look like? And most people think their brain, which your brain's no more your mind than your fingernail. Your mind is in every being of your body. We're spiritual beings. We have a mind and we live in a body. Right? So Dr. Thurman Fleet's like, hey, I got to figure out a way to help us change our mind with a picture. Because we don't have a picture of the mind and we never will. So he's like, this is kind of a picture of your mind. Let's create this little stick figure here. And, in your conscious mind, the top part, you can accept or reject any thought. Remember polarity, good thought, bad thought. If I can think something bad, I can think something good. Well, as we turn those thoughts over, it moves into your subconscious mind, which is where feeling is produced. And the feeling creates what our body, the instrument that we live in, actually does. The feeling creates action, good and bad. You're walking through the grocery store, you see your ex-boyfriend that cheated on you, feeling bad, behavior, action. You're throwing stuff at him from the other aisles of the grocery store. No. Or you see your long lost friend you haven't seen from college in 2 years and you didn't know they were in town. Oh my gosh, Ken, what's up? Actions are great. Behavior, my results are exciting. So Dr. Thurman Fleet created this stick figure so that we can have a picture. So this is really what it all boils down to. Can you guys see this picture right now? Okay. So this is the stick figure. And this is why these laws are so important. The law of relativity, the law of polarity. We want to try to stay on that positive energy. So if you look at this diagram here, can you guys still see it, everything?
No, you stopped sharing.
Okay, there it is. Sorry. Is it good now?
No.
Okay, shoot. Give me 1 second. Share. Okay. All right, here we go. It should be good, right?
Yep, there you go.
Okay. So if you look on the left side, remember I told you everyone has the ability to think. No one can make you think anything that you don't want to think. Most people don't know that. They think, oh, well, I'm from this part of the town I live in, and I grew up here. This is a hand we've been dealt. That's a complete myth. It doesn't have anything to do with it. Most of the most successful people that were entrepreneurs before us never even finished high school, much less went to college. And so it has nothing to do with that. But most people, they go through their life on this left side of the stick figure. In ignorance, it's the one word that can determine all the problems in the world, which means you just simply don't know something. If you got a problem in your life and you don't know how to fix it, that means you're ignorant to that situation. So we have to learn, right? But when people are ignorant, they go through life not knowing. It's like when you haven't studied for a test, there's worry and doubt and fear that set in on this left side over here. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I got this test coming. I don't know. Yeah, you don't know because you haven't studied. Likewise, when you have studied for a test, you're like, dude, I'm going to ace this one. Ask me any of the spelling words. I got them all. And then when fear sets in, that creates anxiety. And then depression. Anxiety leads to depression. And depression is basically anger that's turned inwards. It's anger on the inside of your body. You know, external anger is out here. You want to get mad at something. But when I have anxiety, it's anger that's turned inwards, and I suppress those feelings. I don't express them, I suppress them. And look at this word. It's a body that's at dis-ease. So sometimes it's said we don't die, we kill ourselves with dis-ease, the body that crumbles because of our thinking. It's that powerful. UCLA Brain Institute has studied that human potential is infinite and that it's the most potent form of energy there is. And we're in a body that's disintegrating, right? Results are negative. And you see this little negative here. It's like a little charge, like the lightning bolt, right? So thank God for the law of polarity because everything has an opposite. Well, let's go to the good stuff. What's the opposite of ignorance? Knowledge. When I study for the test, I know all my spelling words. I do spelling words in the car with the kids. Mila, who thinks I can drive and look at a spelling list, hey, Dad, ask me these words. I'm like, Cam, can you ask the words? I got to drive here. So when we have knowledge, we have understanding. Like when you don't know how to overcome an objection, but then your leader teaches you the 5 main objections, you're going, oh, that's it? Yeah. And once you memorize those and get them down, you're good. Well, then I have faith. When I have understanding, I have faith and well-being. And I'm excited, so I express those feelings. I don't suppress them like hiding in my turtle shell. I express those feelings. You know, no one's ever come to work and said, hey, Ken, I got to be honest. I am super excited today. I am really, really fired up. That's not how it goes. They come in, a high five, and let's go. We're taking over. Let's do this. And then our body's at ease, which is in a creative state, not a disintegrating state, a creative state where ideas are allowed to flow to and through us. You're like, hey, I had an idea about this. And you're like, oh, it's a great idea. I don't get creative ideas attracted to me from the law of vibration and attraction when I'm in a disintegrating state. All I get is more disintegrating stuff. And then the result is positive, right? So this figure is so important. I put it on the cover of my book, The Handbook to You. Dr. Thurman Fleet called this little stick figure, he gave it a name, and it's called the genie. And the reason he named that genie is because a genie will give you whatever you ask. So every result you've ever gotten in your life, you told your genie the good results you got or the negative, your genie was fully in charge. You're like, oh man, I can't do this. I didn't sign anybody up last week. I'm gonna do this now. And then you go up and you get the results you don't want. Cool. That's where you're telling your genie to go get you. Now, if we all had a genie, we would say, hey, I want unlimited wishes. Cool. Well, that's what you get with this genie. You know, my kids understand the genie. They know because they play competitive sports. Like, what are you telling yourself before this game? Well, I know this team is physical. I know that they win a lot of games. But let me ask you some questions. You're sounding ignorant right now, like you don't know what you're doing, but I know you do. How many days a week do you practice? Well, we have 3, and then we do extra training. Okay, cool. Are you prepared? Yes. Have you played this position before? Yes. Have you ever beaten this team before? Yes. Okay. Well, let's not lose the battle before we go into the game, because you're bringing on anxiety and worry and fear when you have no reason to. So I'll go ahead and take this off the share screen there. So that's the genie. And all of these laws, law of polarity, law of vibration, law of attraction, Um, law of relativity, the law of perpetual transmutation, which means that energy moves into physical form to and through us. All of these laws are to help us be on that positive side of the genie. There's no side of the genie, but it's to help us control our genie. And if you think about the most coolest thing you've ever done in your life that you've accomplished, you were telling your genie, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. I'm not stopping till I get it. I will go to this college. I will travel in Europe. I will help my parents build this addition on their house. And then your genie went out and got you exactly what you asked it to go get you, the results. But this is so dangerous too, because you could literally decay yourself to death if we're telling ourselves negative and I'm not worthy and I can't do it and I didn't grow up in that way. I didn't have that education. Who do I think I am? I don't have enough money, because the genie is going to report to you as you tell it. So now you know, and this is really the big secret. Now you know why you haven't gotten the results in your life. And you have really no one to blame. Oh, well, they didn't show me enough. They didn't do that. Okay, well, that's sounds like we need to get more knowledge. We need to take more accountability. And so the genie is the secret. That's why when you get that app the first hour of the day, the results are good, because you're telling yourself what? Oh, this day is going to be perfect. And guess what? That's what the genie goes and delivers for you for the rest of the day, is perfect. Not perfect, but you know what I mean. And so it's really important that you understand that. Just get that picture in your mind. Don't self-sabotage your day halfway through the day. Law of polarity is, if I've gotten no all day, guess what else I'm going to get? Guess what's coming? What's the opposite of no? It's yes. But if I self-sabotage, you go, oh, this day, it's one of them days, and you should just stop working, because you already know the results you're asking for. And so sometimes we do this by putting pressure on ourselves, versus going and doing what we know already how to do. I see leaders sometimes 3 months into business and they act like they've never pitched a customer. I'm like, dude, you got 2 guys in your crew that are leaders. You taught them. Why the backwardsness in the field? Well, it's the paradigms. It's these habits that we have in our subconscious mind of, well, I have to perform. Now I have leaders on my crew. You have to perform anyways if you don't have leaders on your crew, or you do have leaders. So the have to perform that's what we promised our clients we would do. So I'm going to go perform like I have bills, which I do, if I have a guy on my crew or not. But think for just 10 seconds what you're most proud of. And then what were you telling yourself when it took you to hit that goal? New people prove this to us all the time. They use their genie the first 2 weeks of the business. And they go, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have everything down in the campaign, but dang it, I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. I don't want to sit in the lobby with the new people. I want to be a leader. And then what do they become? What's a genie go and get for them? Leadership. And it delivers it to them on that Tuesday morning at 10:30 when, Jason or Ken or whoever says, hey, we got a new person that got promoted. And so remember, everything happens twice. Once in your mind, it has to happen there first, and second in your real life. That's how everything that ever was became what it was. First in your mind, second in your physical life. Things just don't show up, right? Like I looked up when the highlighter was invented. I think it was like some version of it was in the 60s, because chalkboards are just kind of messy and nasty. And okay, well, can we make something that's not so messy? And someone had an idea, and then next thing you know, we got these little highlighters. That's pretty cool. Or the white eraser board, the eraser boards. Some are clear, some are white, some are whatever. So that's the genie. You should live your life by understanding that your thinking mind can literally create physical things in your life, good and bad. It can create disease and it can create wealth and happiness and health, right? So you can trick your subconscious mind. It doesn't know what's real or imagined. So if you're not feeling good, just be like, oh, I feel great. Of course I'm feeling good. Happy, healthy, wealthy. You want to auto suggest those great ideas to your mind so that your vibration stays good and you're able to go out and get the results that you're really going after. Right? So any questions on that?
So sessions, I know it's coming up on 12:40 and typically about 30, 40 minutes. So I
Okay.
guess the final question would be, first of all, thank you for taking the time. I've heard you talk
Always.
about this, I mean, 10, 20, 30 times in my career, and every time it hits differently. I heard recently somebody say, a man or woman never walks through a river twice. And it's because that man is growing or that woman is growing, and so is the river. It's changing and evolving too. And my hope is with you sharing that information with people that maybe have heard this before, that they're in a different place to receive it in a different way to help them grow as people. But yeah, I mean, I guess final question be, how does this help your kids? How do they perform? I know I literally, it's so funny when you're describing that. That was Saturday's conversation when Brady played his game, and Sunday morning when Mason played his game. I do the same thing. I break down their day.
Well, it works in everything in your life. If you want to have a great marriage, guess what? There's going to be problems. So we can't blame our parents. We can't blame our past. We have to do the work. If you need to go to therapy to get coaching, then do it. That's what I had to do. I saw a divorced family. I saw death. I was a hypochondriac. And when I got married, I was like, I didn't even know if I wanted to have kids because I was so scared that I would screw it up. And so I had to go get help. I needed a coach. I had a coach in everything in my life. And so finding the problems, solutions for the problems that we have is how you do anything. Raising teenage kids, it's a little challenging. So we got to ask questions. We have some of it's normal, some of it's just bodies going through metamorphosis. So don't freak out. And if the problem you think you're having right now is your teenager going to have this when they're 26, if the answer is no, just let it slide. Well, I don't know that if I don't ask questions. Right? So it's helped me be a better husband, be a better brother. I have a brother and sister, better brother, better dad, better leader. It's helped me stay more calm. And my kids, they know that they can have anything that they want, anything that they decide they want, but they're going to have to do the work. And it's kind of funny because my 16-year-old's like, we're shopping for cars, and she's like, yeah, let's get a G-Wagon. I'm like, okay, I know I taught you to think big, but if I got you a G-Wagon, like that would be I gotta have something for you to look forward to down the road. So I can't give you all that stuff now, but she's like, she's got this multi-million-dollar mindset, which is great. Now she's humble. We have some family values that we live by. You have to stay humble and kind and be respectful, work hard, give your best effort. And, we follow God and Jesus in our house. That's how we do it. And so representing a higher power, a higher being, doesn't matter if you're not around me, you got to live for something more than yourself. And so you got to give your best effort. Do not get a C on a spelling test. You know the answers. That means it's an effort test. So it just helped me, be a great student. The room, Bob Proctor always said the room for self-improvement should be the biggest room in the world, because we should always try to strive to self-improve. And if you're not a great reader like me, I listen to books and I can remember everything in the book. So I have more books on Audible than I do have books in my office, just because I can listen to something and it's like it's in the memory bank forever. And so you're in control. So don't ever forget that. And you can do amazing things, but you gotta form the habit of understanding that. And so when you're having that day, when you wake up, you know, it might be weird if you think about me in your bathroom. Just don't think about me. Just think about the genie. All right, I want my day to be good. And then Michael said, hey, I got to stop whatever's going on right now. And then there's some days that just seem like everything flows, right? Everything's good. Your new start comes. You get a return from State Farm that you overpaid. They sent you a $65 check. You're like, oh, yeah. Oh, it's on. I got money. People are giving me money. I got new starts. And you're like, that's a beautiful day. Now, we wouldn't know that if we haven't had the opposite, which is kind of a rough day, right? But they can all be good. They can all be effective. You decide. Work with your genie every day and win in life.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you so much, Michael. You guys have a great day. If you get a second, you jump on Amazon, get that book, the handbook to you, everything Michael talked about today. You can get more information there. But being a student of the game will always serve you. Guys, have an amazing Tuesday. Thank you again. Take care, guys.